So we're still having, Rob, the conversations about Matthew Stafford, the Rams, where exactly it could go, where it could possibly go, and some more conversations starting to happen about what do you do? Is there a way to make Aaron Rodgers an actual option for the Rams if they were to find a trading partner for Matthew Stafford? Rob G, you can break that down a little bit further.
Yeah, so there's multiple reports out there, guys. One of them coming from New York, interestingly enough, where Matthew Stafford's been linked to the Giants. And the reporting is that Aaron Rodgers, who is currently about to be a free agent, has his eyes on one specific team as his next landing spot. That team is the Los Angeles Rams. The only problem is Matthew Stafford, at least for now, is still the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams.
And Rob G, Kelvin, I want to throw in there's a story on CBS Sports, right, robgs.com, written by Joel Corey, the former agent. And he says that Matthew Stafford is to blame for this whole scenario in that he didn't take his full value at the time when he had leverage with the Rams. He left money on the table, and now he's trying to come back on the back end, older, without the stats, you know what I mean, trying to make up for the money that he left on the table. That was an interesting take. We're going to try to get him on the show, right, Rob G?
Yeah, friend of the show, Joel Corey. We'll see if we can get him on. But
I just want to throw that into you, Kelvin, that that's why he's here. That's why he's here.
With that in mind, Rob, you brought up that story. If you're the Los Angeles Rams and the choice comes down to Matthew Stafford, $50+ million a year in a new contract, or you trade him, you get whatever picks you can get, and you sign Aaron Rodgers in free agency, if we get last year's money, around $35 to $40 million, which option are you choosing, Rodgers or Stafford?
Kelvin.
Well, if it's on me, it's fairly easy. For me, I want the guy who's already been here. I want the guy who I'm 5-2 with in the playoffs. That's a great record, 5-2 in the playoffs, and had the nerve to make it 6-1 if they didn't lose to the Eagles, and they were right there with the chance to win.
Did they lose that game?
They did.
Okay.
So I had a chance to be 6-1, and also who has thrown, I think it's 11 touchdowns in the postseason to, I believe it's 2 interceptions, and I have a Super Bowl ring with, and is 4 years younger, and is not as injured right now when you talk about Aaron Rodgers coming off a major Achilles injury, which, is a serious injury. So for me, Matthew Stafford is well within his right to ask for more money when you look at the fact that what he's done throughout his career, what he's done specifically for the Rams, and he's only going to get $27 million. That might be the biggest discount in all of sports. That's crazy. That's asinine. Dang all right, he needs to make more. That should be making double, which would be like $54 million. So, yes, he absolutely deserves more money. $50 million ain't crazy when you look at today's market. It will put him right center where he should be, considering he's a top 8 to 10 quarterback, depending on where you want to place him. Easy answer for me. Younger, not a catastrophic injury like an Achilles. Produces for me. I want a Super Bowl ring with. Look, tensions happen. We have arguments. That happens within the family and within an organization. Let's figure this thing out and make it run for another 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Only problem is that Matthew Stafford is coming for a payday with weak stats. 20 touchdowns, 8 picks is just not that impressive. Do you remember the midseason when they went through 4 or 5 games where they couldn't score? I think they won a game, Rob G, where they had all field goals.
They
right?
did.
Like it was a stretch of about 4 or 5 games where offensively it was as bad as it gets. And that's the issue that I think they're looking at, saying, do we want to do this? If we could save $15 million or $15 or $20 million, we could spread that on some other situations and circumstances. Don't forget, Aaron Rodgers had better stats than Patrick Mahomes. So if you give him some protection, put him in an organization that has won and is probably more buttoned up than the Jets. Remember, a lot of things went wrong, and nobody's saying that Aaron Rodgers had a great season for the Jets. But they couldn't run the football. They had a bad defense, turned sour on them. There were a lot of things that went wrong with the Jets, and it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers. And you think $15 million or $20 million doesn't make a difference. It does when you're trying to put together a football team. So I can see where they could say, this is not long-term. It's not long-term with Matthew Stafford. What's the difference? Brady played till he's 45. Maybe we can squeeze in there and just get one with Aaron Rodgers, and we can have our 2 Super Bowls and keep it moving. And I think they would be more than satisfied. And that's why I think it makes sense and why they're telling him to go ahead and look around, because they don't want to give up 54 for a guy who had 20 touchdowns and 8 picks and had a stretch where they just didn't play well.
It doesn't make any sense to me when you're talking about the money. I get they're like, oh, man, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe if we can penny pinch them down to 45, 40. I understand that it's the business end of it. Sometimes it ain't always pretty. You've negotiated contracts. I've negotiated contracts. It can get ugly. But again, to me, when you start to look at the list of what guys are making, it literally fits right in the middle of where he should be. I mean, it doesn't make sense that you have guys like Kirk Cousins, guys like Trevor Lawrence, guys like Kyler Murray, guys like Jared Goff, guys like who haven't won a Super Bowl, who are some that ain't barely even making the postseason, and they're making more than him. Dak Prescott's making more than him. There's nothing about Dak Prescott that says he's better right now than Matthew Stafford. In fact, if you put Matthew Stafford in some of these circumstances, the teams that other teams are on, you probably would have won a Super Bowl. So now this goes back to maybe the Luka conversation of, is there something else? Do they just not like the guy? Do they not like the family dynamic? Maybe they don't like his wife in the podcast. Maybe they don't. They just, is there something else? Because it can't just be football, because to me, that just simply doesn't make sense when I'm looking at everyone else. And he's 37 in 2025. He's not 37 in 1985, where that was guys, that we didn't have the same modern medicine. Guys are beaten and battered. Guys are getting concussions all the time. It's a much, much, much different scenario. So to me, I don't get, that's what I'm saying. Is there something else that we don't know about? Because the math isn't math. And the man just made $27 million. Absolutely ridiculous.
But that's his fault.
I'm not mad at that. I got that. I actually agree with you.
That's not, and that's why Joel Corey is spot on. You got to take the money when you're younger and all that. Leaving money on the table only comes back to bite you, because now you're asking for money older, coming off of stats that aren't as good. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why
that's real.
That's why they're saying, oh no, no, we're not doing that. You had us over a barrel 2-3 years ago, right? Where we would have no choice coming off a Super Bowl. But we can't do that now.
Dude, I'm looking at again this list of guys who are ahead of him, and there's maybe, 2 to 3, 4 dudes that you say, okay, Patrick Mahomes, okay, I get that. Josh Allen, who's directly above him, okay, I get that.
But it isn't always based on that. It's based on when you sign your deal.
100%.
It has nothing to do with that.
100%. But that's why I would feel like if I'm him, it's time for me to be up to re-up. I'm not asking y'all to pay me 65. They clearly don't.
It tells you they don't want them when they tell you to go find your deal with your agent. They're not paying you. I don't know what, unless you come back with your tail between your legs and say, all right, I'll take 42 and I'll stay. That's the only way. Once they tell you to go look, you think that they got plans for you to be their starting quarterback? I don't think they do.
No, but that's why it's going to be interesting to see who comes in. Remember, this isn't just go leave and blah, blah, blah. This is trade partners. Somebody has to be willing to take the money that you got to pay Matthew Stafford, right? And then they also have to be willing to give up, whether it be another player, whether it be picks, whether it be both. So that's also going to make this difficult, because there might be teams who say, well, I like him, and I'd love to get him. But dang, we got to give you a matching salary, and we got to give you a pick or a couple picks or something. So that's why we might be having this conversation for another month or two, Rob. And at the end of the day, guess who's starting quarterback come this September? It might be Matthew Stafford.
I don't think so. I don't think that he would want to come back, and he might have to. After that, once they tell you to go find another gig or go somewhere else, I don't see how he comes back. I'm dead serious. I would be stunned if Matthew Stafford is the quarterback for the Rams.
I'm just looking around at some trading partners, and I'm like, I don't. I'm
just talking about.
Do you trade Kirk Cousins?
When they tell you if they're at Spectrum, hey, go to Fox 11. Go look around. Go to what you call it. No,
Rob, they know better. You're right, but they know better.
All right. What did I bring up to you before about James Brown? when Fox told him to go look around.
They ain't seen him since.
They ain't seen him since. He been at CBS for 20 years. That's all I'm just saying.
No, you're right. Well, listen, you're right when you said what you said. I'm just looking around at trade, like what are even possible. Do the Jets do a sign and trade? Do they sign Aaron Rodgers? Hey, we'll sign him. Then y'all give us Matthew Stafford. I mean, I'm just looking around. Is it? Like I mentioned, is it something you could do? Kirk Cousins, like, hey, we feel like we can make him better than what he was. We can get him back to his old self. I'm just, I'm looking around at like possible Tua Tagovailoa. Like, is that something? I mean, it's just where are these possible trades and that could match? And obviously, maybe is it the Browns for Myles Garrett? So I don't know. But I think they're underselling what he has meant to that team because Sean McVay is a really good to great coach, but I don't know if they would have won all these games the last couple of years if they did not have Matthew Stafford. I'm saying if they had another, obviously you have Josh Allen, Lamar, that's different, but I'm saying the quarterbacks that would actually be out there that you would say be comparable, I don't think they win.
But they watch him every day, and there must have been at some point during the season. And remember, they had a chance to win that playoff game in Philly. I mean, they did. They were there. They were there with first down at the 20-something yard line or 20,
maybe even closer than that. Might have
22,
been,
and they couldn't get there. I mean, you've seen McVay sour on people, right?
Look, Jared Goff is a lion because of it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And Stafford in that situation, I'd have to go back. We could go back and look at those 4 plays where they couldn't get anything going, but that could have been a defining moment there, plus the money, plus the scoring droughts that they had during the season. All right.